go get it right here. Come on.
Skill position players seem to get all the attention.
Looks left, throws left. Touchdown!
Toe drag swag. He got him in.
You know I'm Tony Toe Tap. You know I'm Toe Tap.
But everyone knows games are won in the trenches. Ahead on NFL Game Pass Film Session, 7-time All-Pro Joe Thomas sits down with 11-year NFL veteran Brian Baldinger to talk trench warfare.
Hand placement. A lot of young coaches, they teach improper hand placement for a tackle. So proper hand placement for a tackle is actually on the bicep and on the opposite pec. So if you tell the guy to punch him in the chest, he has now got an angle through your inside shoulder to the quarterback, and you've essentially given up the inside leverage, which you never want to do.
The former Browns left tackle talks through everything that made him one of the game's best for 10,363 consecutive snaps.
Yeah, baby! Yeah!
Joe Thomas is our guest here today in Film Sessions. And Joe, we're happy to have you here because we really, people don't understand trench warfare. You know, they know the offensive line's important. They know the defense line's important. They really don't know what goes on inside the trenches.
Don't punch me like that. Hold. Hey, it's called blocking. I'm looking for flags, but I don't see one.
We want you to help us explain trench warfare today. Does that sound like a good deal?
It sounds fun. I'm excited. I love talking offensive line play, especially when it's with another offensive lineman.
Yes. You know that offensive linemen, like, we can get carried away sometimes. So we think this is how the world should revolve around offensive line play.
Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Yes, sir, yes, sir. Here we go. Let's go, fellas. Hey, put it on us today. Put it on our backs, all right? Every play. Here we go. Trenches on 3. 1, 2, 3. Trenches.
Joe, let's start with the basics, because the basics really is the stance. And you have a very unusual stance. I think a lot of what people don't understand is like all the things that take place just from the stance.
You always start from the ground up. Feet, knee, ankle, hip, shoulder, over, keeping you square. Where I got this stance from was actually, I was a shot putter in high school and college. And so it kind of looks a lot like the glide technique, right? You start this way, you're gonna step, 6 feet backwards like this, and then you're gonna throw the shot put, right?
Yeah.
Well, the beginning of a kick step in a left tackle business is the same thing. You know, you're essentially, you're moving backwards, keeping your shoulders square, trying to get into a balanced low position. And then you're just gonna repeat that a number of times until it's time to block the guy across from you. When you're an offensive tackle, you're racing to a spot. You're trying to beat a guy that's a better athlete than you, that's running faster than you, that's running forward, and you're doing it backwards.
And probably getting paid more.
And getting paid more than you. So what you need to do is you need to find every cheat that you possibly can to be able to beat him to that spot.
Give yourself a fair advantage.
Give yourself a little bit of an advantage because everything that happens after the snap is taking time and it's giving your opponent more opportunity to get up the field and get to you, right? So the idea for me was I had that big stagger because if you're here, this foot has to move like 4 feet, right? If you're already back here, it's only got to move 1 foot, right? It's a little bit shorter distance to remove as much wasted motion before the snap happens.
Streamline the motion.
Streamline efficiency. I would get really low because I wanted to load my knee, my ankle, my foot, and almost 90% of my weight was going to be on my inside leg. And I needed to load my leg and my hip to be able to get that force moving in this direction, right? So I'm trying to get that movement essentially, right? So if you're higher, you're not going to be able to move this kick as far, right? But if you're lower, you're going to be able to move it a little bit further, right? You're going to get more extension. You're going to get more time to be able to push force on your body.
There's real science.
It's all biomechanics.
It's all biomechanics.
That's all it is. You're in this position. And the key thing is you take your left shoulder,
Yep.
and you're actually going to roll it forward
Okay.
and down. This is what's going to keep you square. Squareness prevents the inside move.
That's
if
the
you
two-way,
open up,
that's the turnstile.
right. If you're like this,
Yeah.
your defensive player can beat you inside, or he can beat you up the field, or he can run you over.
Yep.
So you need to keep this shoulder square. That'll keep your shoulders square. Feet,
Yep.
knee, ankle, hip, shoulder, over. Then when you kick, you're in a perfect position to be able to block the guy. Well, everything as far as pass protection and run blocking revolves around where you start, who the middle linebacker is.
31's the Mike! 31's the Mike!
57's the Mike.
He's the starting point because once you've identified that player, then all the other blocking assignments
Okay.
fall into place around that.
So we hear the Mike.
We hear
or,
Mike,
Or you could
right.
hear a number.
Yeah.
You know, the quarterback's calling out generally.
Yeah, as a football player, we're not very smart people, so we can't think weak, middle, and strong, so we've given him a nickname.
Okay.
You know, we're calling him Mike, Sam, and Will, right?
Right.
So if a fan hears who's the Mike,
Yeah.
we're talking, where's the middle
Linebacker.
linebacker? Who is he? Once the center identifies that player,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, now the guard knows who he's blocking, now the tackle knows
It
he's
cleans
blocking.
it all up.
It cleans it up.
These combo blocks are everything. And I mean,
Yeah.
so many of the runs, good runs that you guys had, is based off of the combo block right here, taking care of the down man first.
Yep.
You're foot to foot and shoulder to shoulder with Austin here before you work up to that linebacker.
So I understood on this play that the defense is two-gapping.
Yeah.
That defensive tackle, he's going to try to run into the guard and see where the ball is and then shed the blocker. Well, as soon as he does that, I'm able to hit his hip, knock him across. Now he's a one-gap player. He's stuck in the A gap, and I can easily move up to linebacker. Playing offensive lineman is not always about firing off as hard as you can out of
angles.
control. It's about angles and technique and control and understanding what the defense is trying to do.
Rowell zooms through 50, 45, stiff arm, 35.
Come on, you get in the end zone.
Out of bounds, inside the 5. Oh, the crow got loose.
The offensive line doing a nice job of staying on their block, and Crow just finding a little crease.
Like one thing I see, Joe, is how low you are, and you're always, looks like the hip is your aiming
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
And you almost want to get as low as his hip.
If you hit the hip's going to move. I'm trying to wait until that defensive tackle gets into the guard.
Yep.
Because then I'm able to work on the hip. Once the defensive tackle's engaged, I'm able to easily bump his
Yep.
hip with my left hand
That's all
and
he
my
needs.
right shoulder. That's all he needs.
Your ability to go from being 6'6" to stay low like that, how conscious were you of playing at that level on that type of a play?
Well, I knew that was the difference between winning and losing because if I'm not able to get low enough to get onto his hip, he's not going to move. That
Right.
guy's way bigger than I am.
Yeah.
Even with two bodies on him, you're not going to move him out of that gap. He's not going to move out of that gap unless you're able to get down on that hip because the hip's the only thing that's going to move him.
All right, good hard running, baby, right off that double team. That's 600 pounds moving his ass, man.
Joe, you're the lowest man on the field. You're 6'6", and you're the lowest man on the field right now.
Can't stop it. That's the best play in our book. They can't stop it. Boy, they're walking around. They must be tired. Hey, let's go get 7. Tired of field goals.
They give it to the crow. He's in for a touchdown.
So you get the touchdown. Mitchell's going to come over. He wants to pick you up. He wants to pick you up like you score, right? You guys are going to get a W today.
Yeah, he wants to celebrate.
But you won't let him pick you up. You have a way. You're so particular that only you can get yourself up off the ground.
I can't get up like that. I can't get up like that. I can only get up on my front.
You know, after about 5 or 6 years in the league, I became unable to get helped up. I was like a turtle. When I was on my back, I couldn't get off the ground. I actually had to roll over and do a push-up to get up. And even if somebody wanted to help me up, it was impossible for me to get up. I don't want any help getting up. Leave me alone, I got it. You've got a few different types of sets as a tackle, but your traditional jump sets, right? Where you just go and you basically run block the guy, right? And then there's the pass blocking technique where you set off, right? And then there's kind of in between where your first kick is off the ball, but then you go get him on the second step. And what it does is it kind of disrupts the timing of his pass rush.
Thomas, you gotta go right at him. He got some good ass feet.
Okay, now the battle's on. The next step here is
hand placement. It's very important. I think a lot of young coaches, they teach improper hand placement for a tackle because you're not ever going to see a guy square up with you, right?
No.
He's always going to be
on edge.
On an edge, outside of you, right? So if you tell the guy to punch him in the chest, he has now got an angle through your inside shoulder to the quarterback, and you've essentially given up the inside leverage, which you never want to do. So proper hand placement for a tackle is actually on the bicep and on the opposite pec. So you'll see my right hand is actually on his bicep area because when you hit that bicep, it's naturally going to slide up, and now you can grab the shoulder pad, right? And your outside hand is going to be on his outside pec area, right? You don't want to be any wider because then he can beat you with that hand leverage from his right hand. And you don't want to be any tighter because then if it's tighter, he can knock your outside hand down and get an edge.
He says he can beat Joe Thomas with inside move. So y'all got to cover him, or if we took the weak side, I'll cover him.
This is a perfect play where your right hand hits his bicep and then slides up right underneath his pad.
That's exactly right.
And you got a grip right there, Joe. Like, once you get that grip, you're not giving that up.
It's over, because once you get that shoulder pad right there, there's nothing he can do to get your hand off. He can try to break your wrist, break your arm, but he's not getting off because my grip strength is a lot stronger than anything he can do to my forearm.
In close to your body here, too.
That's the other thing is once you get that piece of shoulder pad or jersey and you bring it in close to your body, he's not going anywhere. It's like a wrestling match. It's over. I go here and then here. So I'm like this. So then I can pull him into me if he's trying to like disengage. And usually he can't, usually when they pull away, that's when they can get you the holding call. But usually if you're like here in tight, you can have a little bit more control over him and he can't get that separation and do the, oh, he held me thing.
That's why he good, though. He making in-game corrections.
Okay, now the battle's on. You guys are engaged here, Joe. The next step here is to drop the anchor.
He likes the bull. Yeah, he's a bull guy.
Tell me about that, because a lot of guys, Joe, they can get the hand placement, and really it doesn't matter how big some of these guys are. If you can't drop an anchor and stop that power right there, then he's going to eventually get through.
Yeah, so there's two lines of thinking that tackles are going to think about when they're trying to stop a bull rush. The first line of thinking is, I want to take his movement and his energy and lift it up.
Take his center of gravity.
Center of gravity up, right? So you're going to hit his shoulder pads and you're actually going to try to lift it up. The way I stopped the bull rush was actually to sit my anchor down. I'm actually going to let my hips lower. I'm going to try to bend my ankles even more to create a power angle with my ankle, which is like much sharper than a 90-degree angle. That's going to be able to give me enough force to be able to press back against him when he bull rushes like that.
I don't know, Joe, if you're in your time, you kept a book on guys, actually wrote notes. You did. I put a couple guys in here that I think are pretty good pass rushers, and I wanted you to just kind of take us through what you had to do in order to get ready for him.
Jason Taylor, he would always come in with that long arm, so I would see that long arm and that would be my target. You can't let that hand get into your shoulder pads. So I would actually see his hand, and during the week I would practice punching it with my hand.
Oh, really?
Because once I punched his hand, it would mess up his balance.
Right.
So then it would be over here.
So you're just trying to time
So I'm
it.
trying to time it. It would be like a boxer. Got the focus mitts, right? You're trying to hit those focus mitts. Because if you hit him, he's keeping his distance, and now he can't get into your body with that long arm, and then he can't have his way with you. Freeney was, in my opinion, one of the best 3 guys I ever played against pass pro. His pass rush was so deadly because every pass rush move looked the same until it was exposed itself, right?
Freeney was he's a great player. He'll hit you and just like walk on by. Just like, yeah, that's what I expect.
He could beat you inside, outside, and he could run you over.
And he could spin.
Yeah. The spin move was, I don't want to say revolutionary because people did it, but nobody did it even close to as good as he did it throughout his career. You'll be thinking bull rush, and he's going to take that right elbow and he's going to hit it across your back, and he's going to take his right foot and it's going to step way past your right foot, and all of a sudden he's past you and there's nothing you can do but try to tackle him.
So he's probably 6 inches shorter than you.
He's short.
He's short, okay?
He's short and stocky.
But it didn't stop him from getting to a lot of quarterbacks.
I mean, I don't know how you could get any lower than I am.
No.
And he's underneath
He's
me by
underneath
about
you.
4 inches.
And he's got a great angle, and he's got the inside hand on here. He's not in bad shape right there, Joe.
So if you look at the mechanics of the body, if Freeney is able to line up his spine, his hips, and his heels, that's going to create a line through his body that's going to create the most amount of force on that line. And if you look at that line from his heels to his hips through his spine, it's going right through the upper part of my shoulder, which is about as powerful as you can possibly get. He has maximized his power output from his body.
You just got to try to drop that anchor you talked about. And just try to slow him down as much as you can.
The only thing I can do is try to get a little bit lower and just get
Hope
as
that ball's
strong and
getting
as
out.
big and hang on for dear life. I'm fighting my ass off, doing everything I can to try to stop him from being able to get any more pressure.
I can tell when it's a pass, I can tell when you go pull.
He's like, I can tell when you're pulling and I can tell when it's passed. The ref. I go, I don't give a if you know when it's passed and you know when it's run. Yeah. I don't care if he knows.
One thing I prided myself on was my awareness, especially later in my career. I was able to block my guy, do my job, watch what the other linemen were doing in case I needed to correct them after the play, but also watch the defense and see what was going on and understand the concepts that were going on within your play, right?
Late pressure. You've done a good job of sealing Dumervil, and you take a hit off the quarterback just because of your awareness on this play.
You'll be able to see that pre-snap, they give it away what they're going to do. You see Elam, the safety's on the hash, and they've got a nickel player and a corner over there. It's a game of math. We've got one receiver over there, and they've got 3 guys that can cover it. So you know for the most part, one of those guys is going to come, right?
But you can see that pre-snap.
You're seeing this pre-snap. So in my head, I know what's happening. My outside linebacker, Elvis Dumervil, is probably going to take the inside route on me because as soon as he does that, he's making space for somebody that's coming off the edge. As soon as I got my guy stopped, I could tell that I needed to take the hit off of Hoyer. And if I could get a little bump on that player, it might be just enough.
Just enough.
That Hoyer can get the ball off.
Yeah, they are bringing Wanda choke, block 3 guys. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to, but I'm saving the plays.
But like, I don't think a lot of people think that a tackle can see all those things happening and still do your assignment.
Yeah. It's interesting when you're a young player, you don't see any of this stuff.
Right.
But you start to learn it because what the safeties are doing and what the coverage is doing is going to affect me because now I know if my defensive end that I'm blocking is going to try to rush inside or he's going to try to rush up the field because for the most part, defenses are sound and they own a gap. And they're going to own an area and rush lanes.
I put this on, I saw this, Joe, and I was like, this is beyond the X's and O's. So much of your success, longevity, durability was based off what we just your techniques, the level of, I guess, detail within the techniques and how important those details are.
The details are everything in football, and they're especially important for quarterbacks and offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Especially as an offensive lineman. You know, you get older, you're getting slower. You're not the same player you were when you were 21, but your brain can work faster, and you can actually be more efficient and play faster on the field.
You know what the problem they say with experience is, Joe? They say by the time you get enough of it, you're too old to enjoy it. But you got enough experience, Joe, to enjoy it for 11 great seasons, man. So we thank you for sharing some of your wisdom in here today.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Right here, man.
This is it. This is our drive, man. We put it all together. Let's go, let's go. Come on now. Let's go. Pick up. Let's raise our level. Let's go. Let's go. Pick your heads up. Let's go.
It is a short list of who's been the best for the past decade, and my guess is most people would say that guy right there.
What's up, bud? Nice job, man.
Hey, man. You're a hell of a...
You too, bud. Good luck.